Here we go. Before I get to Patrick Mahomes' shocking transformation, and to Jalen Hurts' Tebow, and to the man who now owns football, Howie Roseman, how he do that? Before I get to poor LeBron and poor AD and Chiefs, luckiest team in the history of the world, forgive me, I have to get this out of my soul and off my chest about the man who now owns me. I'm talking about Jerry Jones. Look, as you know, I'm lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan from when I was 10 years old. I can't help it. It's in my blood. It's got me by the short hairs. And from 1989 through 1995, I spent a whole lot of time with and around Jerry Jones. That was for the 3 books that I wrote about the Dallas Cowboys. And seriously, I'm talking about hundreds of hours over those 6 years. Got to know him inside and out. I mean, I got to know the man. He could be a little crazy at times. He did have this scary temper that could just blow in a heartbeat, a skipped heartbeat, mine. But this Jerry I got to know was from age 47 to age 53. And that Jerry, he was smart, as he used to say about his daughter who was at Stanford, graduated from Stanford. She's whip smart. Well, Jerry was whip smart. Jerry had this Midas and magic touch for making these seemingly crazy decisions that turned to gold in business and in football. That Jerry was just extremely personable, charismatic, likable, just impossible to hate because he was humble. He had lost his shirt in the oil fields, man. He'd lost it. He'd had the woman at the airport cut his credit card in 2 because he was bust. That Jerry still had some humility, redeeming humility. That Jerry was on top of his game. That Jerry was in command. That Jerry was the GM and the unofficial coach of Dallas Cowboy teams that did win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Can't take that away from him. Oh, man, but that was a long time ago. Jerry Jones is 82 years of age now. And the Cowboys he owns and still operates haven't been back to even an NFC championship game since Jerry was 53 years of age. It's a long time ago. Which brings me to my single biggest fear about my Dallas Cowboys. And this is not easy for me to discuss with you. My single biggest fear is that Jerry Jones has just lost it. Lost his fastball, lost all perspective, lost all humility, just lost himself in his enormous celebrity, his fame and his fortune, just lost his way at age 82, just gone a little cuckoo at this advanced age, a little batty. Now, this no doubt has happened to many NFL owners before Jerry and to some as we speak, but those owners didn't and those owners don't run the football team. I mean, hands-on run the football team like Jerry. Those owners stay in the background. They stay out of the way. They stay out of the media spotlight. They let others make all the football decisions. They may hire and fire coaches, maybe a GM here and there, but they let them do the football. Jerry is still the general manager. And now it's painfully clear he wants to be the co-head coach. Once again, the co-head coach. And the problem is his wife and kids love him so much. And frankly, his wife and kids respect and fear his temper and his wrath so much that there's just no way they're going to conduct some intervention and tell Jerry it's time to step down in favor of his oldest son, Steven. It's just not going to happen. There is absolutely no way Jerry would make that decision on his own either. Are you kidding? He's the most famous and visible owner in the history of sports. His team is the most valuable team in the world, even though his team went 7-10 this past season. Even though his team has the worst playoff winning percentage over the last 30 years of any team that's played 15 or more playoff games. The worst in all the NFL, Dallas Cowboys. Worst playoff winning percentage, last 30 years. So next July, Netflix is going to drop a documentary about the 90s Cowboys dynasty. I know because they interviewed me for like 5 hours for it. And Netflix believes this doc will rival the Last Dance doc about Michael Jordan's final season in Chicago. And I do not doubt that it might eclipse it. I think this Cowboy extravaganza, I think it's going to be 10 parts. And this is what I do know about it. The epicenter of every episode will be Gerald Wayne Jones Jr. He is running this show. This is his baby. It's like he's building this monument on Netflix to himself. So Jerry, step aside now? Jerry Jones, seriously? His story will rival Michael Jordan's. That's how big Jerry has become at age 82. Rival Michael Jordan. The great Taylor Sheridan just gave Jerry a crucial cameo in the penultimate episode of Landman. Opposite my friend Billy Bob Thornton, opposite John Hamm. And Jerry stole the show. I talked about it at the time. He stole it, baby. Jerry's a movie star at 82. And to think that way back when, Jerry's bid to buy the Cowboys in 1989 was by far the lowest of the 5 final bidders, by far the lowest of the final 5. Others were big, heavy hitters, not Jerry. He came out of nowhere. But the former owner, Bum Bright, I got to know him very well, told me that, number one, he just got a kick out of dealing with this wildcatter from Arkansas who struck it rich in oil and gas. And Bum also told me, number two, he ultimately chose Jerry because Jerry was committed to firing Tom Landry and bringing in his college teammate, Jimmy Johnson, to coach the Dallas Cowboys. Bum Bright despised Tom Landry, who had cold-shouldered Bum at several Dallas Cowboy Christmas parties. Bum wanted revenge, and he got it through Jerry by choosing Jerry's bid. That was then. This is now. Now this Jerry is getting, to me, creepy scary. I'm talking about off the deep end scary. Lost it scary. This Jerry reminds me of one of my favorite all-time movies. You probably won't know. I don't know. It's ranked in most top 20s of all time. It's called Sunset Boulevard. I think it was made in 1950, and it's about an aging movie star named Norma Desmond, who has deluded herself into believing she's about to make a big comeback at a very advanced age. The movie ends with Norma Desmond descending the staircase in her crumbling mansion on Sunset Boulevard, looking right into the camera and saying, "All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up." As in Cecil B. DeMille, the great director/producer. So my man Jerry was ready for his close-up last Friday night when he called Adam Schefter to giddily announce that while people have always thought of Brian Schottenheimer as a career assistant in the NFL, now he's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Whoop-de-doo, said Jerry to Adam Schefter, who broke the story. To me, this was Norma Desmond, Sunset Boulevard kind of stuff. Jerry's just ready for his close-up and his comeback. He could have pursued Deion Sanders to be his next head coach, or Pete Carroll, or Mike Vrabel, or Rex Ryan, or Kellen Moore, or Brian Flores, or I don't know, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, you name them. But nope. Old Jerry said, hell with all that. He's going to do it his way. He elevated Mike McCarthy's best buddy, Brian Schottenheimer, who hasn't even been calling the plays, who was out of work 3+ years ago when McCarthy gave him a job as an advisor. He was just Mike's buddy. That's what he was paid to be. Jerry Jones truly believes that, as he has said many times, 500 coaches could coach his Dallas Cowboys. And that he, Jerry, as he once said in a magazine story soon after he bought the team, he believes that he, Jerry Jones, could, and I quote him, coach the shit out of this team. That's what Jerry said then. He's made references to that even within the last year. And that's what he's about to try to do. He hired a guy who's had 13 assistant coach jobs in 28 years. That's kind of scary. He hired a 51-year-old Schottenheimer who never once has been offered a head coaching job, even though his father, Marty, was a very good, highly respected head coach for many, many years. He hired Brian Schottenheimer, did Jerry, because Jerry just wanted another puppet who will do exactly what Jerry tells him to do. Another puppet who'll just be happy to have this gig. He might not have had another one if not for this one, and it's the head coaching job of my Dallas Cowboys. Jerry is a movie star now. He's a Netflix documentary star. He's a superstar owner with 2 radio gigs a week. And now he's about to coach the shit out of his Dallas Cowboys, or at least try to. At age 82, Jerry Jones just said to the world, watch this. Watch this, America. Watch me now. There's some Joe Biden in Jerry Jones, but Jerry's party, his family, is not going to replace him or even dare to try. And Jerry obviously cannot be voted out of office because he owns the office. He owns my Dallas Cowboys. So he owns my heart and my soul. Heck, he owns my very self-image. I will admit this publicly. When my Cowboys win, I feel a little better about the man in the mirror. I do, crazy as that might seem. So now Jerry Jones lives in a crumbling Dallas Cowboy mansion on Sunset Boulevard, and he's ready for his close-up and his comeback as co-coach. And all I can do about it is kick and scream and watch. A sip of Diet Dew. Breakfast of Champions, Nectar of the Gods. Okay. Here comes the Super Bowl. Here comes Patrick Mahomes again. But has anybody out there but me noticed that Patrick Mahomes is no longer Patrick Mahomes? That super duper star who took the NFL by storm in his first 5 years, by bombs away storm, everybody go long and I'll throw it 80 yards for touchdown after touchdown. Storm, storm, storm. Patrick Mahomes run is what he used to be. That guy is gone, along with much of the splash and the flash. Tell me I'm wrong about this. This guy, this Mahomes, he plays shockingly boring football. This Mahomes has turned into the ultimate dink and dunk artist. Tell me I'm wrong. No NFL quarterback gets rid of the ball quicker than Patrick Mahomes. Instead of high rolling hundreds trying to hit the casino jackpot the way he used to, especially in his first couple of years, this Mahomes just quietly and patiently plays the dollar slots. And it's not like he's 40 now and conceding to age. Nope. Patrick Mahomes is playing like a grandpa at the ripe old age of 29. He's just 29. Career low stats this season across the board for Patrick Mahomes. And I've thrown this out there before. Over the last 2 years, he has thrown a bunch of interceptions. Over the last 2 years, he has 25. That's second in the entire league to my guy Baker Mayfield with 26, but he just won off. So he's carefully careless in a lot of ways, except for this playoff run when he's cleaned up his act the way Josh Allen had cleaned his up all year. But when it comes to Mahomes, I can't argue with 17-2. I can't argue with his 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. Are you kidding? I can't certainly argue with the shot at doing something no quarterback has ever done, no team has ever done, winning a 3rd straight Super Bowl. Can't get rid of the guy. Yet, think about this. Mahomes' longest completion in Sunday's AFC Championship game was 31 yards. It was a 10-yard pass that Juju Smith-Schuster ran with for 21 more yards. Now, Mahomes and Andy Reid are mostly about freeing receivers for yak yards. Quick slants, quick picks for each other. Bam, 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 bam. Quick. Mahomes' yards per attempt have dropped dramatically in 6 of the last 7 seasons. From a career high in 2018 of 8.8 yards per attempt to this year's career low 6.6 yards per attempt. That's a massive drop-off. Same for yards per completion, from 13.3 in 2018, career high, to just 10 yards per completion this season, massive drop-off. So I'll hit you with this. If you think I'm exaggerating, check out Mahomes' big plays this season. Those are 20-plus yard plays. This year, Patrick Mahomes, I'm not making this up, not exaggerating, had a career low 40 20-plus yard plays. 40. That ranked 19th in the NFL. That trailed the likes of Sam Darnold and Bo Nix and Geno Smith. And, Kirk Cousins trailed them all. We're talking about Patrick freaking Mahomes here. Or at least the guy who used to be Mahomes. This guy's king of dink. And this guy, his body has even gone through a transformation in my eyes. I'm not saying he's gotten chunky, but he's just so much thicker than he was in his first couple of years. He stands only 6'2". He's not the tallest guy. He must weigh, 240. He might weigh 250 now. But he does amaze me, does Patrick Mahomes, with how quicker than the eye quick he still can be, how deceptively quick he still is in escaping the pocket, how quickly he hits his top speed, which isn't exactly Jaden's top speed or Lamar's top speed or even Josh Allen's top speed. But now Mahomes sort of rumbles up the field. He pump fakes defenders off their feet. He dekes them near the sidelines, late breaks up the sideline just when they think he's said no mas and is about to just step safely out of bounds. Off he goes. And hey, if this Patrick Mahomes gets a full head of steam and he smells pay dirt, look out. He will run over DBs. He will run through linebackers. I mean, he looked like a fullback Sunday against Buffalo. He powered into the end zone. He's a freight train. So in case you hadn't noticed, I just wanted to point out that you're about to watch a dinking, dunking fullback in this year's Super Bowl. The artist you formerly believed was Patrick freaking Mahomes is now this guy. Enjoy. Now, speaking of those Chiefs, I made the case several times during the year. Luckiest team in NFL history. Now they've won 16 straight games that are one score. Well, let's add one on. It's actually now 17 because that was a 32-29 game. So 17 straight games they've won when it's a one-score game. They're now 11-0 in one-score games this year. I made the case at Arrowhead, which opponents now treat like Sparrowhead, that they just got luckier and luckier and luckier. 7 times they had great late escapes at home. And you can throw this in because what happened Sunday against the Bills, it required some really big lucky breaks. It required 2 huge breaks from the refs and 1 huge drop from the gods above. The NFL gods said, let there be a drop. Thank you. You know the plays I'm talking about. One late in the second quarter. It's 3rd and 5 from the 29, Buffalo 29. Mahomes throws one. I don't know who the pass was intended for. I think it was for Hollywood Brown. I'm not sure. You want to talk about lucky? And all of a sudden, Worthy comes out of nowhere, the kid from Texas, and goes up, and he's fighting the kid Bishop for the Bills, for the football. And it looks like Bishop's got both hands on it and is coming down with an INT. Until they got almost to the ground, and Worthy is starting to successfully wrestle it away from Bishop. And as they bang against the turf, the ball dislodges and the nose of the football clearly hits the ground. It's just an incomplete pass. Nobody controls it at that point, but thanks to the ground stopping the nose of the football, it comes back up into Worthy's hands, and the refs rule Chiefs ball. That made it 1st and goal at the 3. Now, there was a defensive holding called on Buffalo, but they ruled a catch. They looked at it again. They reviewed the play and ruled a catch because refs protect refs on the field. They stuck with the call on the field, so they did not show up the refs on the field from the replay booth or from headquarters back in New York or New Jersey. I mean, it was just incomplete. CBS crew thought it was incomplete. Everybody said incomplete. And Gene Steratore and Romo both made the case, as did I on Twitter, that it looked like Bishop had more control than Worthy did. So if you just rule incomplete, you're going to get the penalty, obviously, for the hold, and you're going to give him a 1st down, but you're going to take 21 yards off the completion. So maybe the Bills still got a fighting chance, but 1st and goal at the 3, pretty quickly it was 21-10 Chiefs. Or cheats, right? Kansas City cheats. Then we got the early 4th and 1, let's call it 1. The Kansas City 41 in the early 4th quarter. Josh Allen was having a hard time crashing through the line with his usual authority. I will give you that. But they let him try one more time on 4th and short. And he plunges up high. And on his first plunge, his initial surge, the ball touched the line to gain. It just did. You can just see it on the replay. It touched the line to gain. It's a 1st down. One ref running in from the near side who had the better view of it marked it 1st down. The other line judge running in from the far side who did not have a good view marked it short. And they review it again, and they go with the distant ref with the worst view because they want to protect refs. Refs protect refs. But in the end, as I've said many times, it's refs protecting Chiefs because NFL wants to protect Super Bowl ratings. NFL needs the Swifties to watch the Super Bowl. If you give Josh Allen that first down, they have a much better chance to win or maybe steal the football game at Sparrowhead, where the Chiefs have struggled all year long, but somehow pulled off great escape after escape. Maybe Josh Allen was going to shatter the mojo, shatter the magic, exorcise the ghosts of playoff Arrowhead. And refs protected refs, refs protected ratings, refs protected Chiefs, refs protected her and her followers who will now watch the Super Bowl in full force. Everybody needs these ratings. The ratings would not be the same with Buffalo versus Philadelphia. You need Patrick Mahomes. You need Travis Kelce. You need her. And you need her Swifties. Ratings will be dramatically higher. Congratulations to my old network, Fox. Dramatically higher because of calls like that by those referees. Decisions like that. Nope, no first down. Chiefs ball or Cheats ball. And then it comes down to 4th and 5 at the 47. 2 minutes to go. Got to go for it. And I don't know if this is luck or skill or genius, but Coach Spags calls an exotic blitz, a weird blitz, sort of an avalanche left blitz. And what does Josh Allen do? Their play call runs right into the teeth of the blitz. Josh Allen is rolling right at the snap, right into triple blitzers, all of whom come free very quickly, right in his face. What if it's a planned roll left? I don't know. What if it's just a straight drop back with an open receiver? Remember, it's just 4th and 5. What if he's going to hit Shakir on a quick out to the left and he just stands up and guns it to him in single coverage and he's wide open for 8 yards? Drive continues. Still plenty of time left. That's the 2-minute warning. Instead, Josh Allen is immediately flushed and has to retreat. I didn't think he was even going to get the ball away just because he is so gifted athletically with such a huge arm. He got the ball away. It was a prayer, but he got it away. And it hung way up in the sky and it came down out of the heavens. And the shock was the Chiefs couldn't find it. There were 4 DBs around in the vicinity, 4 defenders. I don't know if they're all DBs, but linebacker DBs. But there are 4 Chiefs in the ballpark of the ball and they can't find it. But one Bill found it. A second-year tight end I wanted my Dallas Cowboys to draft. Dalton Kincaid, last second, found the football. Maybe it shocked him. It wasn't obviously the route he was running because he was having to come back hard for the ball because it hung and it dropped way short of him. So he's sliding back toward the throw. It's not something you often practice. It's like running forward to catch a punt. And as he dived forward, the ball hits him right in the hands and goes right through his hands. A gift from the gods, a drop from above. The ball fell out of heaven and fell right through his hands into hell. It took those 2 breaks from the refs and that break from the gods above for the Kansas City Chiefs to survive 32-29. Way to go. Congratulations, NFL. Way to go, Fox. But as I said last night, and I will repeat here again, this is just perfect. Now, my Philadelphia Eagles are perfectly positioned to wreck the Chiefs' three-peat chances and to bring the Swifties to tears. Congratulations, cheats. Okay, quick left turn to the NBA. Maybe it's a right turn. I just got to get this off my chest about my guy LeBron and his guy AD is in Anthony Davis. The trading deadline is a week and a couple days away here, February 6th, a Thursday. And LeBron and AD have both taken turns saying they need help, publicly saying they need help. And I'm calling BS on both of them. I'm sorry. Even their agent, Rich Paul, dropped hints with the media. LeBron and AD feel like they're a player or two players away at the trade deadline from being a contender. Seriously? How about these two players? LeBron James, I know he's 40 years of age. He's averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. Extraordinary. Anthony Davis is averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists. But 26 and 11, that'll work. So the equivalent of QBR, my favorite football staff in basketball, is a John Hollinger stat called PER, Player Efficiency Rating. It's a tell-all. It nails it. You can bank on it. You can hang your NBA Finals hats on it. PER. So if I allow everybody into PER, some who don't belong because they just haven't played enough games, in the overall PER, as we speak right here, right now, Anthony Davis is 5th in the league, top 5. That's pretty great. LeBron, if we throw in everybody, some who shouldn't really qualify, but if we throw in everybody, LeBron is 15th in overall PER. That's 5th and 15th. But if we start putting qualifiers in, if we say you have to have played at least 30 games, that bumps AD up to 4th. That bumps LeBron up to 8th because they both played 40 games each. 40 each, 4th and 8th. If I say 40 or more games for PER to qualify, that lifts AD up to 2nd and LeBron up to 5th because there are a whole bunch of guys that bump LeBron down to 15th. Like Zion is 12th. He's played 11 games. Mark Williams is up there. He's played 19 games. Embiid's up there. He's played 13 games. So if let's just go for the throat here. If you have to have played 40 games, 40 and 40 for AD and LeBron, they haven't played every game, but 40 and 40, AD is 2nd in PER and LeBron is 5th. Nobody has two players on the same team ranked that high. If you do the overall PER, just the overall with everybody thrown in, Daniel Gafford's up at 7th and Luke is at 9th. He's only played 22 games so far. Obviously, he's been out for a while. But they're the only team. And Daniel Gafford, seriously, not exactly superstar material. So look, the Lakers have two of the best players in basketball. It's as simple as that. They have 2 better players than anybody else has on their teams, including Jalen and Jason in Boston. You got LeBron and AD. I'll take these 2 over any 2 you can throw at me from any other team. Tell me I'm wrong about this. And they're complaining about needing more help? Stop it. Lame, weak. Get that you-know-what out of here. Get it out of my face. So the Lakers, they're sitting at 5th in the West. They're 25-18. They've underachieved. They got off to a hot start, then they didn't. But they have won 3 straight. They blew out the Celtics the other night here in LA. They went up to Golden State for what it's worth and blew out Golden State. Steph had a horrible night, shot 4 of 18. But the Lakers sit 2 games back at Denver. Their 16 wins at home are 3rd best in the West. I'm just telling you, I picked before the year the Lakers to be in the conference finals against the Thunder, and I'm going to stand by that because that's what they should be. I said they've got to get and stay healthier. I said Dalton Connect was going to be a factor, and he was early on, and then he went cold. Now he's starting to heat back up, and I think he will continue to heat back up through the back half of the season, post-trade deadline. He's just a kid. And all of a sudden, Gabe Vincent has turned back into the guy I wanted to be Gabe Vincent last year. The Miami Gabe Vincent is starting to emerge in LA, right on schedule. And the other night at Golden State, for the first time in about a year, Jared Vanderbilt actually dressed in something other than great street clothes on the end of the bench. He dressed in a uniform and played in the game and played pretty well. Vando, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, will upgrade their defense. Just give them a little more force, a little more authority. And you need help? You just acquired those 2 guys, it feels like, at the trade deadline, quote unquote. I still like this team a lot. Austin Reeves has turned into a flat-out player. He's what I call a near star. He's not a superstar or even a star. He's a near star, but like a quasi-star. He can play like a star on any given night, and often does. LeBron loves to play with him and to vibe off him. They're on the same wavelength. So, LeBron, AD, you don't need any help. You just need to just play. Just be you. You guys are blessed. AD's a top 5. LeBron's still a top 10 player. So you got 2 top 10 players on your team. You got something nobody else has. Thank you. Okay. You might or might not remember that a moment after the Eagles' Howie Roseman, their GM, took Jalen Hurts late in the 2nd round of the 2020 draft, I immediately tweeted that Jalen Hurts would change life in Philadelphia and soon beat out Carson Wentz. I used to call him Wentz, as in I winced when I watched him play. And I'm sure a lot of people thought I was nuts, as usual. But I could just hear a whole lot of people saying, wait, the same Nick Saban, the same guy that Nick Saban yanked in the national championship game in favor of Tua, that guy, the guy who can't throw. I mean, even before Sunday's NFC championship game, I heard several national commentators, I won't call their names, but I heard several say, Jalen Hurts just can't throw. I've heard it all year. Eagles threw the ball a grand total of 448 times during the regular season. That was the fewest in the NFL by 29. Ravens were second to last. Obviously, the Eagles did have Saquon, and the Ravens did have Derrick Henry, so you can do the math. And the Eagles obviously had Jalen's legs, and the Ravens had Lamar's legs. But look at Jalen Hurts now. He threw for 246 yards Sunday against Washington. I'm not making that up, not exaggerating. 246. He made some big-time, deadly, accurate throws. How sweet was that 31-yarder to A.J. Brown on 4th and 5 late in the first half when the game was still pretty tight? And now Jalen Hurts returns to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. with a chance for revenge against Patrick Mahomes, the same Patrick Mahomes Jalen outplayed in that Super Bowl 2 years ago in Phoenix. It was in Glendale in the Phoenix area. That day, 2 years ago, Jalen threw for 304 yards in a Super Bowl. He did that, not making it up. 304. Mahomes in that Super Bowl threw for a grand total of 182. Jalen 304, Patrick 182. Not to mention that Jalen did run it 15 times for 70 more yards and 3 rushing touchdowns to Mahomes' 6 runs for 44 yards. Not bad. But yes, Chiefs pulled that one out 38-35. Not this time. This time, I'm betting on Jalen Hurts intangibles. No NFL quarterback has stronger intangibles than Jalen Hurts. I've said it before. I'll say it now. Lots of quarterbacks are better throwers of the football than Jalen Hurts, but Jalen makes the throws, the runs, the plays. Jalen Hurts is just a big game, big play, playmaker, natural born leader, winner, a guy you better not bet against when it matters most. No, he wasn't born with the best arm or the most speed. But God gave Jalen Hurts the clutch gene. You better believe it. And yeah, you got me on this one. I know. Jalen did make that one extremely uncharacteristic mistake in his first Super Bowl 2 years ago. They were up 14-7 in the second quarter, early second. They were driving. Could have been 21-7. And on a 3rd and 5 near midfield, Jalen he just lost the handle. Unforced error. Nobody touched him. Lost the handle. And unfortunately, the oblong football bounced right up to Nick Bolton, who scooped it up on one incredibly lucky bounce. There go those Chiefs again. Luckiest team in the history of the world. One big lucky bounce up to Nick Bolton, and he took it to the house. He scored with it. 14-all instead of 21-7. That will not happen this time. Jalen Hurts and company just scored 55 points in a championship game. No team has ever done that. This is a very explosive offense. But Jalen can't throw. Didn't I hear that again and again about Tim Tebow back in 2011? Do you remember those days? When Tim Tebow that year led the NFL in QBR in the final 5 minutes of all the games he played. That Tim Tebow took over at quarterback when the Broncos had fallen to 1-4, and he lifted them to the AFC West title and a win over Ben Roethlisberger's Steelers in a playoff game. Tim Tebow did that. There's some Tebow in Jalen Hurts, just some. Tebow ultimately won with his will. He just willed it. So does Jalen. Tebow often won with his legs. Obviously, so does Jalen. Jalen's a more consistent passer than Tebow ever was. Yet, Jalen can drive you crazy, drives me crazy, with stretches of, what are you doing, man? Jalen can just lose it for a while. He can lose his accuracy, his command, his feel, sometimes even his poise. Just, I don't know what, he just kind of goes deer in headlights. He freezes in the pocket. But when it is time, game on line, oh, there he is. And he shows right back up and he takes right back over. I do think Jalen is a better leader than Tebow ever was. The Tebow in pro football, maybe not at Florida, but than Tebow was in Denver, let's say. Tebow, of course, was so outspoken about his religion, about his faith, that it sometimes set him apart from his teammates. Jalen's spiritual in his own quiet way, but he's more one of the fellas than Tim ever was or could be. Jaylen is the backbone of that locker room. He is the last word in that locker room and in that huddle. So if I can bring it back to my Dallas Cowboys, give me Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott any day or any night game. Yeah, Dak will always put up more spectacular passing numbers than Jalen, but Jalen will win more games, especially playoff games, games that really, really matter. His and Dak's career regular season winning percentage is right there together. They're both at 62% winning percentage of their regular season games, but Jalen is 5-3 in the playoffs. And he has lifted his team to 2 Super Bowls now, while Dak is 2-5 in the postseason. And of course, he has never even made it to an NFC championship game. Jalen Hurts has far more winners' intangibles than Dak Prescott has. And now, a week from Sunday, the same Jalen Hurts who can't throw will lead the Philadelphia Eagles past the Chiefs to a Super Bowl championship. You heard it here first, and you will hear it here last. Way to go, Jalen. Love you, man. Breakfast of Champions. Okay, but then again, I'm not sure Jalen Hurts is the most valuable member of the Philadelphia Eagles organization. The most valuable, I can't believe I'm saying this, it has to be the Jewish guy from Brooklyn who didn't even play high school football, that guy? Yeah. That guy now just dominates the National Football League, just owns it. That guy's name is Howie Roseman. He's the reason, the biggest reason, that back in August, I picked the freaking Philadelphia Eagles. I hate the Eagles. I picked them to win it all, to win this year's Super Bowl. I believe that Howie Roseman had the greatest offseason any GM has ever had in the history of the league. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Cowboys GM Jerry Jones, all in Jerry Jones, was all out of luck, out of excuses, and finally out of credibility. Jerry just fiddled around through the offseason while his Rome continued to burn. Jerry bills through the draft. Jerry doesn't really believe in plunging in free agency the way he once plunged out in the oil fields. Jerry Jones signed one free agent of note through last offseason. That was linebacker Eric Kendricks. 1 year, $3 million. Eric Kendricks. He wasn't bad. He was just Eric Kendricks. Yet, after Howie Roseman's Eagles collapsed down the stretch, that was last year. Remember, they lost 6 of their last 7 after they started 10-1. Howie Roseman said basically to the NFL, watch this. You want to talk about all in? Whew. So he goes out, did Howie Roseman, and he steals Saquon, 3 years, $38 million. Only $14.6 million did he pay Saquon this season that we're still in. Only 14.6. That's a steal. I mean, Saquon had arguably, let's throw on the playoffs, arguably this is the greatest year any running backs ever had in the history of the NFL. Obviously, he was poised to break the great Eric Dickerson's record if he had played the last game, and they all opted out of it because it was just too risky. They had nothing to play for except those stats, that number, and he didn't make a run at it. Fine. I wanted him to because I thought he'd earned the right to. But still, he's come right back in the playoffs, gangbusters, busting run after big run, such as the first down run, the first play of the game for the Eagles offense. House. Whew. What a steal for Howie Roseman, first team All-Pro. Saquon Barkley. And then Howie Roseman went out very quietly under radar, and he signed Zach Bond 1 year for $1.6 million. Zach Bond, first team All-Pro linebacker. Sunday against Washington, he led the Eagles with 12 tackles. Another way off radar move, Oren Burks from my school, Vanderbilt University. He did Howie in the offseason for $1.5 million. So he got Zach Bond and Oren Burks for about the same amount of money that Jerry went after and landed his one free agent of the offseason with, Eric Kendricks, for $3 million. 1.6 for Bond, 1.5 for Oren Burks. Oren Burks is playing his tail off in place of Nakobe Dean. Oren Burks was second on the Eagles Sunday against Washington with 9 tackles and a sack. Whew. That was a genius move, a little genius move. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I've always loved him. I rave about him. He just makes big plays in big games at the safety position. He was all over the field on Sunday. Howie brought him back to Philadelphia. Way to go, Howie. Just brilliant. And then Mekhi Becton got him 1 year, just 1 year for $2.8 million. Just a brilliant move because that was the final piece to turning his offensive line into the best line. You could plug in Mekhi at left guard, the best line in pro football. I mean, Mekhi Becton once went 11th overall in the draft back in 2020. 11th overall in Jalen Hurts draft. Whew. I actually thought Devin White was a genius move by Howie. Devin White, of course, linebacker that I loved when he was with the Bucs. I don't know what happened. He's just, I don't know. He just didn't make it there. They released him in October, but I loved the move at the time. I thought he was worth the gamble at a steal of a deal. And I did like replacing Hassan Reddick with the Jets' Bryce Huff, as they sort of traded places, but this was a big ticket item, 3 years for $51 for Huff. And his 10 sacks with the Jets a year back were just 2.5 for the Eagles. So he appears to have fallen out of favor. Yet the Eagles still have, as I keep banging the table and saying, they have the NFL's best defense, in large part because Howie Roseman then went out in the draft and landed the 2 best corners in the draft, and they can both play. Quinyon Mitchell already, he's a top 5 corner. There are times I think he's the top 1 corner in the league. That's how good he is as a rookie. And Cooper DeJean just keeps making plays all over the field as the first white starting corner since, I don't know, since Jason Sehorn, who retired back in 2003. Cooper DeJean, he's even returning punts. He's got some burst to him. Not afraid. Those 2 kids have solidified the back end of that defense and turned it into the best in the National Football League. Meanwhile, Jerry drafted Tyler Guyton out of the school I grew up loving, University of Oklahoma. And I said, I don't know. Tyler Guyton in and out of the lineup at left tackle this year, sometimes because of injury and more often because of performance inability. I said on draft night, Tyler Guyton, he's a project at best. He's huge. I think he's 6'8". I did see some little flashes here and there from him, but still, I don't know. I saw a flash here or there from their second-round pick, Marshawn Nealand, at defensive end. But now think about this. Howie Roseman's top 2 picks are 2 of the top reasons the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Holy cowboy. And Howie went out and hired a guy we knew well in Dallas, Kellen Moore, played and coached for the Cowboys. He hired Kellen Moore to coordinate the offense. Bingo. Howie went out and hired Vic Fangio to take over the defense. Jackpot. Jerry Jones kept Mike McCarthy after the Cowboys were down 27-0 before halftime in a home playoff game. He kept Mike McCarthy. All in my ass. So now we're stuck with crazy, kooky, delusional Jerry. But hey, at least Jerry started at offensive guard for a national championship team at Arkansas way back when. I think it's 1965. Howie Roseman couldn't have carried Jerry's jockstrap on a football field, but Howie Roseman is running rings around the rest of the NFL. I'm talking about Super Bowl rings. I conclude with some words of comfort and solace for my many friends who are New York Football Giant fans. All I've heard from them over, the past couple of months is, how could the idiots who run the Giants let Saquon go? Okay, calm down, please. Wake up, please. No way Saquon could have done for the Giants this past season, what he did for the Eagles. Saquon died and went to football heaven. The Eagles have the best offensive line in football, as I just pointed out. They got 5 mauler ballers. And the Eagles, as I've been pointing out, have the best option operating quarterback in Jalen Hurts. The best. Just a ball handling right and decide magician. Jalen's so gifted at sleight of hand and sleight of foot. Jalen made Saquon far more lethal than Daniel Jones could have made Saquon. The threat of Jalen running made Saquon an even bigger threat. Now watch Deion Sanders. I'm trying to prep you guys, pop you back up, you guys, get you back on your feet, you guys in New York. But watch Deion Sanders orchestrate Shedeur Sanders to the Giants, to your Giants. Just watch. That would mean my Cowboys, stuck with Dak, will be looking up at Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Shedeur Sanders. But hey, we still have the most famous owner in sports history, the man who owns and operates the world's most valuable team. Happy Super Bowl, Eagles. Congrats. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Tyler Korn for producing, to Ernestine for overseeing, and of course to Hazel for approving.